Hi everyone, welcome back to Novel Nomad. I thought I'll get straight back into my tag videos with a really fast and interesting book tag, and that is none other than the rapid fire book tag. I will link the original creator down below and also some of my favourite rapid fire book tags I have watched in order to prepare for this video, but without further ado, let's get started. Question 1. Ebook or physical book? Now personally, as you could probably tell, I prefer physical books. I do have a few ebooks and some of them I find a lot easier to access through an ebook format, but personally if it comes down to it, I will always go physical over ebook. Question 2, paperback or hardback? And this one is a bit of a mixed bag for me actually. I think with Australian standards it's always going to be a paperback because technically that's cheaper and it's more applicable for the Australian market, so I think I have a automatic response to paperbacks. I do like the smaller paperback versions because you can fit so many more on the shelves, but there are some absolutely stunning hardbacks which I cannot go past. Question 3. Online or in-store book shopping? And this is going to be a no-brainer. It is in-store for me most of the time. I mean, I have shopped online obviously, everyone does at some point, but I much prefer shopping in store because it's the experience of shopping in a bookstore. It's being surrounded with other people who are buying books, and it's also experiencing things that you don't get to experience online. You get to browse, you get to have a look at a book where you don't get that joy online. Question 4, heroes or villains? Now this is a hard question because technically I want to say heroes, but I love when the heroes are technically like an anti-hero, so making them a villain but they're kind of a hero. A book you want everyone to read, and probably my most recent one that I've been recommended to nearly everyone that I know is The Drive by Jane Harper. I've just finished this book I think within the month and it was absolutely stunning. Not only is it an Australian contemporary crime thriller, so that makes it awesome in itself, the place and the setting was very vivid and I could easily imagine this outback rural farming town. Question 7 is recommend an underrated book, and for me that's actually going to be The Ghost Talkers by Mary Robinette Kowal. I haven't seen too much hype on this one, but I really enjoy the author's style of writing and also that she chooses really interesting historical topics and mixes them with an element of fantasy to create a really fascinating story, but also with really well done historical accuracy. So this is set in World War I, where mediums are a thing and they talk to the spirits of dead soldiers to gain information, so it's almost like a medium spy network. Question 8 is a book you last finished. Now I don't technically have it with me because I listened to it on audiobook, but it is currently on its way to me because I have ordered the physical copy, and that is book 4 in the Winston Brothers by Penny Reid. This one is book 3, which is Beard Science, which I absolutely loved. Book 4 is called Beard and Mind, and it follows Beau, who's one younger brother to Cletus in this book, and his story with Shelley, who is actually from another of Penny Reid's series. So these are contemporary romantic comedies, but at the same time they're very clever and very well written, beautiful language, and I absolutely adore them. Question 9 is the last book you bought, and technically they're Christmas presents, so I can't put them up on here yet, but I will do the last 2 books that I bought for myself because I bought them at the same time, and that is going to be Lani Taylor's Night of Cake and Puppets, which is a bit of a spin-off I suppose to her Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. I absolutely had to pick this book up not only because it is gorgeous and it is beautifully illustrated, but it follows 2 side characters that I absolutely loved in the first series. The other book that I bought for myself is ginormous. It is huge, but I think after Bleak House I gained a little bit of confidence with wanting to read ginormous books, and that is The Sun in Splendour by Sharon Penman. Now I have been talking about this one with Kate Howe for quite a while. I think we've been trying to figure out a time when we can read this, and she's been talking about doing a buddy read with a few other ladies as well. But it is basically a historical fiction on the tale of Richard III, and it looks amazing, and I don't read much into the way of medieval English history, so this is going to be great. Question 10 is the weirdest thing you've ever used as a bookmark, and this one is a hard one because there are a lot of weird things that I've used as bookmarks, but in saying that I do have a lot of bookmarks, so I've always at least had one handy. But probably the weirdest thing is I've kind of just rested a book on my dog and you know, gone away, get a drink, come back, pick it back up again. It's just like, you know, just resting on her back, and she's asleep, she hasn't moved, so it worked. Question 11 is used books, yes or no? And that is a big old yes to me, because all books need love, and if they're a used book, they're being loved twice as much. Question 12, top 3 favourite genres, and that one's going to be a bit hard to narrow down, but I might as well say historical fiction, crime and fantasy. Or a blend of all three, that is fantastic. Question 13 is borrow or buy. And I kind of do both. I do have a library membership. The only problem is the libraries have been thinning their range of physical books lately, so it takes a very long time for any of my libraries to get in a physical book. And sometimes it is faster to just buy it and then wait for the library, but most of the time I try to defer as often as I can to the library, especially if I'm doing book club, buddy reads or recommendations that I'm not entirely sure that I want to have on my shelves. I will first borrow them. Question 14, characters or plot. Now this one is a very hard one because I do love my characters. It can be an incredibly slow moving plot, but if the characters are there, it is absolutely amazing because I need some connection. However, if it is amazing characters and no plot, even like if it's fast paced or things like that, I'm still ruined. If the plot jumps too much, it doesn't work. So I have to say I put more emphasis on characters, but if the plot is not strong, I also have a problem with it. Question 15, long or short books? And I say yes to both. Mainly I would read probably short books because I like the snappiness of getting the story through and experiencing that short thrill, but there's also a beautiful connection in long books, and also books, even if they might not be long, but also taking your time with them, because sometimes you don't want to rush a book, and a book can tell you very early on into the process if it doesn't want to be rushed, and I immediately start to slow down. Question 16, long or short chapters? And I have to say I'm going to go with short because the achievements are real with short chapters. Long chapters, especially if it's dragging, you just keep flicking until when's this going to end. Short chapters I also find really handy, especially when I'm reading on the bus or the tram, because that means I can actually read them and have a place to stop. Question 17, name the first 3 books you can think of. Now this is probably slightly cheating because I've just been showing you books, talking about books, and I'm in front of a giant bookcase. So I'm going to close my eyes and give you the first 3 books that I usually refer to when recommending. Frankenstein, The Night Circus, and The Hating Game. Question 18, books that make you laugh or make you cry. And I rarely cry in books, so I'm going to go with laugh because I always love a book that can make me laugh. So yeah, I'm just going to jump on the laugh bandwagon. Question 19, our world or fictional worlds? So this is a hard one because I would love to be in, you know, Hogwarts and Harry Potter-esque world, be a witch and be like, you know, all around awesome with my wand and stuff. But I'm going to choose our world, mainly because it fosters so many great stories in which you can escape to and which you can sort through our own reality and make our reality better. So I'm going to say our world, weirdly enough, as long as I can have the escapism of fictional worlds. Question 20, audiobooks, yes or no? And I'm going to say a big fat yes. I'm going to link my video that I did the audiobook tag up here and down there, so you can check that out. I thoroughly enjoy audiobooks. I think sometimes the reading experience through an audiobook is more intense than reading it at times. Question 21, do you judge a book by its cover? And I'm going to say probably absolutely yes. Hence, this book was bought quite quickly due to the cover, and this one was on my like list straight away with that amazing cover. But how pretty the cover is can never stand up to the criticism of the content within. So it's only the outside wrapper, but it is the content that stays with me. Question 22, book to movie adaptations or book to TV adaptations? And this is ridiculously hard because in book to movie adaptations camp we have the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which basically sold me entirely into the Lord of the Rings haven and got me reading ginormous classic fantasies. But then you have the book to TV adaptations, which you have so many amazing different adaptations of TV shows. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell was absolutely fantastic. You have the Sherlock series, even the new BBC one, which is a really good modern adaptation. So there are just so many in the different realms. Personally though, I think with the amount of space they have in book to TV, it captures the story a lot more. But book to movie usually has a bigger budget, so if they don't have a very well crafted script, they can usually get away with really fine detail. One great comparison will be the Pride and Prejudice movie to the Pride and Prejudice series, and yes, I'm talking about the Colin Firth and the Keira Knightley series. So in that comparison you have the TV show, which you have an absolutely amazing screenplay, compared with the movie where you have an absolutely amazing costume and settings, which seem more authentic to the period. So it's a hard one. I'm going to go with TV because I've had a lot more fun and experience with watching TV shows that have been adapted from books than movies. But Lord of the Rings is like haloed in this section. Question 23. A book or movie adaptation that you prefer more than the book? I know this is slightly sacrilegious, but I preferred Chocolat the movie to Chocolat the book. I think I also read the book when I wasn't quite in a full understanding of magic realism. It didn't really grasp me when I was reading the book, and also the characters and setting and time seemed so out of place for the book, where it had a very good setting in the movie and it was able to convey that certain sense of magic that Vian was able to create in her food. Last question, and question 24, is series or standalones? I'm gonna go series, mainly because I like when a story continues, because I'm always interested in where the story can take me next. Alright, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tag. Tell me what your favourite book or TV adaptation is over the book. But if you have any answers to these questions you'd like to discuss, or if you've done this tag, let me know down below. I'd be interested to check it out. And I'd like to say a big hello and thank you to all my subscribers, especially when I've been a bit MIA for the last few weeks. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Bye!